course, our Global Leadership Conversation one of many that we're having with influencers, leadership influencers all over the world, various countries. I won't mention all the countries that I've had the privilege of engaging leaders and experts. And our challenge rather, is a global leadership crisis. However you package it, there are pockets of excellence. We're grateful for that. But we speak to interesting leaders and they give their views on 2 questions. And today I'm asking a very interesting man, Malik Melamu. He's the CEO of MTN Sudan, which is a very interesting country. And of course, at the end, we'll ask him to punt the country to tell us why it's so interesting and why you should visit it. But for our 2 interesting questions, you know what they are. First of all, welcome, Malik. It's good to have you with us.
Hi, Adrian. My pleasure to be here, as always. Thank you for having me.
It's a wonderful pleasure. We like your insights. We really appreciate them. So here's the first question. What is the most important quality or attribute that we need to develop or awaken or improve in leaders if we are going to turn around the global leadership crisis? What's your vote? What do you put at the top?
Well, at the end of the day, I think it's something I'm always talking about, so I'll come back to it. It's all about the heart again. So if you look at it that way, I believe every single human being on this earth can be a leader and have leadership traits and qualities, because I believe what lies in your heart is the real truth about yourself, about how you feel about others, about your beliefs, about what you'd like to see in the world. I think it all sits very much in the heart. Yes, it does take time, probably from youth to mature and have a few experiences to be able to engage the heart. But I think we need to go back and start finding ways to tap on that real human spirit that sits in the heart, because that's at the essence of leadership. I think what's happened over time is that we've just been swamped with theory and rational thinking, and it's enabled a lot of people who are not necessarily doing good or looking for the common good to be seen as leaders, as to be seen as successful. So in today's world, some of the leaders that people adulate are adulated for the material gains, how rich they are, you know, how much money they've made. And so you open magazines and everybody talks about an example. We're starting to have this frame in our mind that the leader is, you know, the top 100 billionaires in the world. But it's not. It's about really what lies in the heart. So we need to go back to the human qualities that really, I think, drive sustainable leadership.
Okay, so we're used to these pictures of someone posing in front of their Learjet, you know, and those sort of things.
Yes, and I think that's where we've lost it, Adrian. I think that's where we've lost a lot, because it becomes too easy then to depict someone as a leader. But truly speaking, what it really is, I mean, you see someone in front of their Learjet and you go back to where they work or the company they run and their dead bodies everywhere. But we've already put them forward as a leader. So I think we need to probably sit down and come together and agree, what is it we're really looking for in leadership? Is it the visual stuff, the bells and whistles? But no, I think it's really the impact that you have on other human beings. And generally speaking, regardless of your level of education or your wealth or what, if you have a good heart, you generally leave people with some impact about you. They feel something about you. So I do think that for me, at the end of the day, as I always say, the only compass for true leadership is the heart.
Okay. So you would say the quality, and we could define it many ways, but the quality or the attribute that we need to more urgently develop in leaders if we're going to turn around the global leadership crisis is their ability to access their heart and
yes.
everything around that, the impact.
Yes.
Okay. So I mean, that you and I know we could have a very intense conversation just about that, because obviously the heart is good. We're used to a society where people who are just very intelligent and rational and problem solvers and all those wonderful things, they get to the top because they make quick decisions, or they dominate, or whatever all the reasons are that so many symbolic leaders or leaders have risen to the top. The challenge though is you can have a good, if you have a good heart, People in today's world can step all over you, and you're perceived as someone who can't hold them accountable, or who can't do the tough things, or who won't make the difficult decisions when you have to perhaps let people go. Or just contextualize for us before we look at question 2.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. But that who says that having a good heart means you have to be soft and trodden over every time? I think the issue for me about the heart being the compass, it's about holding truth. So you sit and agree that this is the way in a company or in an organization, in a country. This is what we believe is good for the people of this country. This is what they deserve. This is what, then that holds true in your heart. And then you do everything necessary to make sure it happens, not treading over people, but being assertive. I think everybody associates the heart with being soft and being loving, and the heart is. But I think what I'm trying to say is the heart is about truth.
Okay.
The heart is about truth. It's about, because leadership is about truth. It's about trust. It's about veracity. It's about people believing that when this person says this, this is what will happen.
Okay. All right.
So lack of truth, I think, is because we're not using that organ, which is, for me, is the holding place for truth. Okay.
Yeah, that's powerful. Thank you. I think that contextualizes. Let's not for a moment think someone who their heart is weak. In fact, they are extra strong. No. In fact, they are stable, and they are sure at a foundation. Now, the big question is, how do you best develop, awaken, maybe, or improve quality in leaders? How do we best do that? It's such a personal journey, isn't it? I mean, how do I get someone who's very rational, someone who's very intelligent, the old model of leader? How do I get that man or woman to turn around and tap into the heart, do the 16-inch drop?
You know, it's very difficult, but I mean, if I paint the picture of my life, how I grew up as a leader, I had the absolute benefit on my first managerial appointment to be put side by side with a gentleman who had been in the company for 33 years and had managed in all kinds of countries, territories, different conditions, different people, different cultures. And I was given the benefit to have this man sit with me every single day. And before I made a decision, he would sit and talk it through with me. He would ask me questions. Why are you doing this? Why do you think this? Have you thought about it this way? And what I'm really saying is, I think this is probably the best way, is to find those people who we feel, well, not just necessarily leading from the heart, but those people who we feel have the qualities that we're looking for to change for the common good, and have them spend time mentoring. I think mentorship is probably the word that we need to use. I've often thought myself that, okay, what would I do the day I finish this corporate job that I'm doing and I'm tired? What would I do to give back and to keep me busy? And I thought, I thought back to my first appointment as a CEO. And I said, I had to actually go through a lot and fall on my backside a few times before I really got the hang of this and I understood why I'm there. But I thought back to how I was mentored when I first started as a manager. And I thought to myself, well, maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should set up some sort of business where I can mentor newly appointed CEOs and sit down with them and tell them your technical side, the reason why you've been appointed, you must have been good at something technically, and help them with that heart side of it. How you use your heart to make you sustainable as a leader. So I think what we need to start doing, and I think that's why the Global Leadership Platform is of so much interest in me, because what you're doing, Adrian, you've created a repository for experience, all kinds of thinking, and that, and so for me, it's like a virtual mentor. And I open it and I read things, and I read the experience of another CEO in another different business, a different country. So I think this is the kind of thing that we need to do. We need to have a repository of experience, knowledge, and find a way to start early and start inculcating that in future leaders. But I think it has to be, it's not the academic or the courses, it's that people bit. Me sharing what I went through in a very honest way, my mistakes, my successes, what worked, what didn't work, sharing it with a new CEO. And I'm actually thinking to myself that that's probably something I would like to do when I'm done with one thing, because I think that is how we will make sure that we build a head of steam to get back on track with what we feel is the right leadership and to put off this crisis we're in.
Malik, Melamu, thank you so much. I think that's what we need. So your voice is out there. The heart, mentoring, finding the people that subscribes to the heart and getting them to mentor more. And certainly you would make a big difference once you finish your important job up there. Now, before we let you go, I mean, that's the Hash Global Leadership Conversation 1 with you. You're in Sudan. This is a geographic conversation. We're having it all over the world.
Yeah.
Tell people something interesting about Sudan in a few seconds, and why should they visit that very fascinating.
Okay, the first thing is that it is in Sudan that you have the joining of the two Niles. You have the Blue Nile and the White Nile. The White Nile coming from Ethiopia has its source in Ethiopia. The Blue Nile has its source in Uganda. And the two come for hundreds of kilometers. And in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan, the two join. And from there, as they carry on across the country and they arrive in Egypt. Well, most people actually associate the Nile with Egypt, but you will see the two Niles joining in Sudan, in Khartoum. Another thing about Sudan, its neighbor Egypt is very famous for the pyramids there. But in Egypt, you'll find around 170 pyramids. In Sudan, you have about 350 pyramids.
Really?
Yes, there you go. You're on your way then.
Interesting, very interesting.
Yes. So a lot of the influence for the design of the pyramids comes from Sudan. So if anything, I think there's so much history there. I mean, they've uncovered a village that was buried, and it dates back to, I think, 7,500 BC. So there's a lot to see in Sudan. Okay. There's a lot to see.
Well, tell the politicians to sort out their things so that people can enjoy those magnificent scenes. Wow. Thank you.
100%.
That's Malik.
Thank you, Adrian.
Part of our Hash Global Leadership Conversation 1 all the way. Well, he's in South Africa now, but he resides in Sudan. And that's probably why we could have this conversation, is because he visited here and let me know. And I'm so grateful for that. Thank you for your wisdom and your insight. And we certainly look forward to having future conversations. You are right. It's all to take, the purpose is to take all of this into the Global Leadership Platform, and for that platform to more and more become a mentoring depository. And it will evolve more and more. Thank you for your time.
Only a pleasure to be part of it. Thank you, Adrian.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.